Hello and welcome to the March 29th, 2026 episode of Nick's News. I am your host Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're putting some money into this project of ours. We're live every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like Industry Tap, Live Science, Positive.News, and GoodGoodGood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Hello, everybody. Hello. Wow, we have a bunch of people all coming in. Hello, everyone. Very happy to see everybody. Very cool. Thank you all for joining us tonight. This is going to be a good one. Back to good news for the foreseeable future. So let's start off with our news brew. So we're going to explore beer from another part of the world. We have been this entire month with March's news brews all coming from Kyodo Shoji Coedo Brewery located in Kawagoe-shi, Saitama, Japan. That's right, I have finally, at the end of the month, been able to get that name out. I have just been butchering it the whole time. Oh, our King Derailer is back. Syraxis makes his triumphant return to watching Nick's News. Great! Now my broadcasts will be an extra 30 minutes, as Sean wrecks my broadcast and drives it into the dirt. So, the fourth of these brews that we are going to have from Coedo is JPA. It's a beautiful bottle. I like the artwork. And JPA is a 5% ABV Japan Pale Ale. It's brewed with rice and yuzu, and this one hopes to finish the Coedo beer experience with style. So, across the world, breweries ply their trade, brewing beer for everybody to try. It's time to get out there and try something different. So, fairly, that was a much better introduction for Sean. So, I don't have any Japanese pint glasses in my collection. I do, however, have my Iron Man pint glass, so we are going to enjoy this wonderful brew from my Iron Man pint glass. It is a bottle, so we need the Ballast Long bottle opener. Hey, Becky. Hey, Waffle. All right. Let's get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour so I don't get all this gas in me. And that is a lot of head on this. We'll let that settle a little bit. Pours a hazy-ish yellow. It's not quite a hazy IPA. It's a Japan Pale Ale, a JPA, and it is brewed with rice and yuzu, which is a little bit different from what we're used to over here in the States. So it is looking like a good beer. We'll let that settle out just a little bit, and then I'll top it off. Sean looks like he's got an improvement in his work schedule, so he should be tuning in with us more. Fantastic. Always happy to hear. We'll always have to have everybody tune in that can, or just catch the replay. You know, either or works. We're happy just to have you all with us. So, shout outs. The first No King's Day reported over 5 million participants. The second one reported over 7 million, and the third topped out over 11 million. This Saturday, March 28th, people from all 6 continents stood up to make their voices heard. And as of the recording of this episode, preliminary estimates are over 8 million people participating. And that is sure to rise because, it's Sunday. The event happened yesterday, so we'll see what the total numbers become. To every single person who participated and had your voice heard, cheers. Whew. Ooh. Oh, that is delicious. Wow. Very subtle. The hops are more on the floral side, but the rice and the yuzu is this wonderful sweetness that you don't normally get with a pale ale. And it's not malty sweetness, it really is its own unique sweetness. I like drinking sake, and there really is kind of those rice wine notes to this, and I really dig that. So I'm actually going to go in for a second sip. Wow, that is a tasty beverage. That's fantastic. Sean got a puppy. It was a Valentine's Day unexpected chaos and is currently in piranha mode, but the story requires a much longer explanation. Fantastic, Sean. Congratulations on your puppy. Cheers. News quote. Friendship is the hardest thing in the world to explain. It's not something you learn in school, but if you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you really haven't learned anything. That quote comes from Muhammad Ali, who was with us from 1942 to 2016 and was an American professional boxer and activist, and a global cultural icon widely known by the nickname The Greatest, and is often regarded as the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. And I really like that quote because friendship really is one of the most difficult things for us to understand as a species, and we are a very social species. And friendship is different from person to person. There is no mold. There is no one size fits all for friendship. And we have to put in the work to understand that with one another and figure out what friendship means. Because what friendship means to you might not be what it means to the person you call friend. And when you put in that work, that is when you learn what friendship is. That is how you learn what friendship is. So friendship is the hardest thing in the world to explain. It's not something you learn in school, but if you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you really haven't learned anything. So, to Muhammad Ali, and to everybody who is putting in the work to figure out what friendship means to the people that you call friend, cheers. Oh, that's a good beer. Bug update. Ripley, our resident scuttlebug and absolute terror, has been on the hunt all weekend. I've actually had a pretty lazy weekend, and I've had a chance to observe Ripley, and Ripley comes out in broad daylight with the lights on and hunts during that time, and that was something I was not aware of that she did, so it's been really cool to see her out and about so much. Have I mentioned she's creepy? She's really creepy. Little John is doing well. He's also been very active. With temperatures up, the temperature was relatively up this weekend. All the bugs are definitely a little bit more energized. The Cuddle Puddle is having rap battles between Big Tom and Tony the Tiger. Those are my Madagascar hissing roaches, and they do hiss at one another and have basically singing competitions to woo the females. The only outlier in the bug world is Sue, who's been content to remain deep in his burrow. I really haven't seen much of him, but that's okay. He's probably just throwing a tantrum again, so otherwise everything else is good in the bug room. Yeah, producer Donna points out to Sean that I have more scorpions since the last time you checked in, Sean. I have 4 now. 4 scorpions. But enough about my scorpions, let's get into our good news. Our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice stuff that we like to end on. So, we're going to start off in category 1, science and technology. We called this article, "If you're playing the Knicks News drinking game, get a DD." Part of the Knicks News drinking game, I think. I haven't seen all of the official rules, but I'm pretty sure there's one for when I have to say the word AI. It's because I don't like the word AI. If that is a rule, to take a drink when I have to say the word AI, you're going to want to suspend the game for this article. I'm going to post it in the just in the chat if y'all want to check it out. But again, you might take yourself out with this one. Man, I got so much stuff I gotta close. There we go. Tech company helps dementia patients live independently with memory prompting smart glass. This was published to good.is on March 26 of 2026 by Eric Barnes. There we go. People with Alzheimer's disease and their families often require support. According to the Alzheimer's Association, 1 in 9 people aged 65 and older has the disease. Nearly 12 million Americans also provide unpaid care to those with Alzheimer's and other dementias. With that in mind, a tech company is hoping to help through a simple pair of glasses. CrossSense, a British technology company, has developed AI-driven smart glasses designed for people experiencing cognitive decline. Using a camera built into the frame, the glasses can identify and label objects directly in the lenses. They also feature an AI assistant, dubbed Wispy, which can gently ask questions, provide reminders, and adapt to a user's needs. The purpose of these lenses is to help people with cognitive disabilities live more independently. The AI helps those with Alzheimer's disease remember steps in a sequence and labels the items that they're looking for. This can give patients a sense of confidence, while also easing the burden on those who care for them. The creators spent more than a decade developing the prototype of the glasses. They trained the AI on everyday activities such as household chores and preparing basic meals. The glasses are designed to work with a patient's prescription and hearing aids, allowing the AI to learn more about the user's surroundings. Over time, this can help identify unusual discrepancies for the wearer. According to CrossSense's website, the glasses will check in with the user about items on their schedule, such as appointments and medications. Charlie says, I need that sound clip as my text tone. Ben says, I'm going to cheat and use raspberry lemonade. Smart move, Ben. This is killing me. I think I'm going to grind my teeth down. Oh. Where'd we leave off? Oh, geez. The glasses are designed to work with the patient's prescription and hearing aids, allowing the AI to learn more about the user's surroundings. Over time, this can help identify unusual discrepancies for the wearer. According to CrossSense's website, the glasses will check in with the user about items on their schedule, such as appointments and medications. They can also help users remember the names and appearances of people they frequently interact with. The glasses can keep track of conversations that users have had, along with items they've interacted with throughout the day. The built-in battery allows the glasses to operate for an hour, but a portable power bank can extend use throughout the day. The technology is still being thoroughly tested to ensure that safety and quality, but it has already made an impression. CrossSense's glasses were awarded the Longitude Prize on Dementia from the Alzheimer's Society and Innovate UK. The prize included £1 million to help fund research and production of the glasses. CrossSense hopes to make the glasses available to the public by 2027. For the first few patients with Alzheimer's disease who have tested these smart glasses, the support the gadget provides has been game-changing. For people with a condition like mine who've got cognitive impairment, it's just an amazing thing. Carol Gregg, an Alzheimer's patient and smart glasses tester, told The Guardian, "How fantastic that we can be given some more independence, that we're going to be able to cope on our own and not be a burden. And not only that, it's not just not being a burden, it's enjoying your life." Dr. Rob Nawaz, a board-certified neurologist in the United Kingdom, spoke to Good about the smart glasses and their potential uses. The most promising use is real-time cueing, he said. In early-stage dementia, people often struggle not just with memory, but with sequencing, word finding, visual spatial processing, and carrying out familiar multi-step tasks. He added, a tool like these glasses could help by labeling objects, prompting the next step in an activity, and reducing the panic that comes when someone knows what they want to do, but cannot bridge the gap in the moment. However, Nawaz is hesitant to see this technology as an end-all be-all solution. My biggest concern is overpromising, he said. These glasses are exciting, but they are not a treatment for Alzheimer's, and they will not work equally well for every patient, especially as dementia becomes more advanced, or if someone has a paranoia, hallucinations, poor vision, major hearing impairment, or trouble tolerating wearable devices. With continued testing over time, there will hopefully be further advances in both technology and medicine to support patients with Alzheimer's disease now and in the future. To everybody involved at CrossSense with producing a pair of glasses that can help folks who are dealing with Alzheimer's and other dementias basically be able to get through their day better, and to all of the scientists that are working on cures for Alzheimer's and other dementias, cheers. My teeth hurt. Ben says, giving the dentist job security. Oh. We're good. We're good. I have good teeth. I've been told. All right. Let's get on to our second article here in Science and Technology. I called it, yes, this battery is a fine vintage of bourbon. I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. I found this one to be incredibly neat. And I like popular science. Mushy bourbon sludge recycled into battery electrodes. This was published to Popular Science on March 25th, 2026 by Andrew Paul. It's generally not a great idea to mix bourbon with high-voltage electricity. That said, chemists at the University of Kentucky discovered a potentially powerful use for one of whiskey's most annoying and plentiful byproducts. According to the team, the liquor's waste grains can be recycled into supercapacitors that rival commercially available options. Behind every bottle of bourbon are vats of waste materials. Most of that unwanted trash is stillage, a goopy, mushy mixture of grains and corn. And in Kentucky, where 95% of the world's bourbon is produced, there is a lot of stillage. From the final volume of bourbon produced, you get 6 to 10 times that amount of stillage as waste. University of Kentucky chemist Josiel Barrios Cosio explained in a statement. So it's a big deal. Although stillage is often sold to farmers for livestock feed and soil enrichment, it's a tricky material to handle. Transporting it is difficult given how watery it is, but it's also exorbitantly expensive to dry. However, if there were uses that justified the costs of turning stillage into different materials, it could offer a convenient and comparatively eco-friendly solution to the ongoing predicament. And that's exactly what Barrios Cosio and his colleagues set out to accomplish. The team was particularly interested in stillage's possible integration into energy-storing supercapacitor electrodes, which are used in everything from consumer electronics to automobile braking systems to utility grids. Past research has shown other agricultural byproducts like corn fiber could be turned into similar materials, so Barrios Cosio and fellow chemist Marcelo Guzman wondered if the same could work for bourbon's blended grain trash. To test their theory, the researchers put the stillage under immense amounts of heat and pressure inside a 10-liter reactor. This created a fine black carbon powder that was then heated to 392 degrees Fahrenheit to form a graphite like solid called hard carbon. They also combined some of the powder with potassium hydroxide before heating it to 1472 degrees to generate activated carbon. The former material is great for absorbing lithium ions and improving energy storage abilities, while the latter houses large amounts of charge thanks to its spacious internal surface area. Once they had their stillage-derived materials, the team experimented with creating double-layer capacitors featuring liquid electrolyte placed between coin-size activated carbon electrodes. Laboratory tests showed their inventions held their own against commercially available electrodes by storing as much as 48 watt-hours per kilogram. Further experiments also yielded a hybrid supercapacitor by combining activated and hard carbon electrodes. In this case, the stillage supercapacitors actually outperformed existing options by around 25%. It was a huge discovery for me that you can make hybrid devices from this waste, said Barrios Castillo. Hybrid devices are not common and not easy to make. There is still a lot of work to be done on improving and optimizing their designs, but the chemists believe that their discoveries may soon become commercially viable alternatives to today's supercapacitors. If nothing else, the work certainly calls for a toast. To these amazing chemists from the University of Kentucky, Josiel Barrios Castillo and his fellow chemist, where was your name? Marcelo Guzman, for working on bourbon stillage and turning it into a supercapacitor. Cheers. Oh, that's good. Sean is struggling on a freaking iPad. The keyboard matches the size of the screen, and his brain and finger muscle memory is still trying for full size. It's like trying to go from a full-size keyboard down to your phone. You're just like, practically got your nose shoved into the darn thing. All right. That is going to get us out of science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. We've got one article here, and this one was sent in by Eliza. So Eliza, thank you very much for sending this one in. We called it Putting Sleeping Sickness to Bed, Once and for All. I will copy and paste this into the chat for you all to read along. A new drug could be the beginning of the end for sleeping sickness. This was published to NPR on March 16th of 2026 by Fran Kritz. Sleeping sickness is a notorious disease, immortalized in Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. A single bite from the tsetse fly carrying the parasite is all it takes to infect someone. Without treatment, one form of the illness can progress from mild symptoms to death in a matter of weeks. Now, a new drug holds the promise of helping the World Health Organization meet its goal of eliminating the disease by 2030. A committee of the European Medicines Agency has given an important green light to the first single-dose treatment, a medication called acaziberol, which could be in use by early next year. Acaziberol is especially notable because it is taken as 3 pills swallowed together in a single dose, replacing long-used earlier treatments that included intravenous drugs known to cause a burning sensation in the veins, as well as being fatal for nearly 1 in 20 patients. Even the current first-line oral treatment, fexinidazole, must be taken for 10 days and comes with severe side effects such as nausea, vomiting, and heart rhythm disturbances. By contrast, clinical trials of acaziberol found just one significant side effect: mild to moderate headache. For decades, available treatments were difficult to use, says Dr. Gerardo Prioto, who leads the World Health Organization's efforts against sleeping sickness and was not part of the new drug's development team. Therapies required staff, equipment, and reliable infrastructure, he says. These challenges were especially severe in remote rural areas where most cases occur and health services are limited. The new drug, acaziberol, removes just about all of these barriers, representing a major breakthrough. Its single-dose, well-tolerated regimen can dramatically simplify patient care, improve access to treatment, and accelerate progress toward the elimination of sleeping sickness. It is a transformative tool for both patients and public health programs, Prioto says. The harsh side effects of previous medications also discouraged people from seeking treatment, says Dr. Stephanie Huguenet, who worked on the clinical trials and leads the response to sleeping sickness for the Drugs for Neglected Disease Initiative, or the DNDI, a nonprofit that developed the drug with pharmaceutical firm Sanofi and funding from multiple partners, including the Gates Foundation, which provides financial support for NPR's global health coverage. Many patients remember what the treatment was like for themselves or family members and were afraid of care, Huguenet says. The tsetse fly picks up the parasite from an infected person and then can transmit it to someone else. The insect thrives in warm savanna woodlands and in vegetation along lakes or streams, so the disease tends to take hold in remote areas where people rely on fishing, hunting, and agriculture for their livelihoods. Like many tropical diseases, sleeping sickness is a disease of the poor, says Dr. Peter Hotez, Dean of the National School of Tropical Medicine at the Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. Over the years, hundreds of thousands have died from sleeping sickness, but sustained efforts, tsetse fly control, diagnostic testing, and medical treatment have drastically reduced the incidence. The current annual case count is just about 1,000 in the world, with nearly 2/3 in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But sleeping sickness has ebbed and returned at many points in history, says Hotez. Sleeping sickness caused by the Trypanosoma brucei-gambiense parasite accounts for more than 90% of the cases, and that is the target of the new drug. The illness progresses in 2 phases. First, an early, less severe stage, marked by fever and headaches, and then, once the parasite crosses the blood-brain barrier, a later phase, with more serious neurologic effects, such as confusion and convulsions. At that point, the parasite disrupts brain regions that regulate circadian rhythm, causing patients to become sleepy during the day and awake at night. Without treatment, the disease can progress to coma and death. Some previous treatments worked only for one stage of the disease, but acaziberol treats both. We can't dream to have better than this, says Dr. Wilfred Mutombo Kalanji, head of the West and Central Africa Clinical Operations for DNDI, which began its work in 2003 after recognizing that many diseases in low-income countries were curable, but pharmaceutical companies had little financial incentive to develop treatments for people in countries unable to pay for them. Folks in the chat are talking about barbacoa, trying to get me to start salivating while I'm talking about the tsetse fly. Kalanji spoke with NPR from South Ubangi, a remote province of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where he helped lead the clinical trials submitted to the European Medicines Agency. He is now overseeing a new trial to determine whether blood serologic tests could allow treatment to begin immediately rather than waiting for confirmatory tests, which take more time, cost more money, and generally can't be done in the field. Monica Mugnier, who studies sleeping sickness at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, but was not involved with development of the new drug, says that the parasite can sometimes evade detection. So a negative test doesn't always mean a patient is not infected. However, if it is determined that the blood tests are reliable enough to guide care, then testing and treatment can begin on the same day, says Kalanji. Such a shift explains could increase the number of treated patients and potentially end transmission of the illness because human reservoirs would disappear, says Mugnier. The next step is a review of Acaziberol, I love these medicine names, by the Democratic Republic of Congo Ministry of Health and by WHO to see if the agency should update its treatment guidelines, which would help other countries authorize the drug's use. But global health experts worry that future U.S. and Western funding cuts could keep the drug from countries that need it. Much of the progress toward eliminating sleeping sickness rests on the work of African researchers and patients who took part in the trials, despite difficult conditions. The clinical trials are challenging, said Kalanji. Patients are often in remote areas with no electricity, no water. We had to set up all this, including training health workers, providing internet connections, electricity, and the safe way to get to the testing sites, because they were remote. We overcame the challenges. That is really cool, with a lot of uplifting information. To everybody involved with eliminating the parasite that is transferred by the tsetse fly and causes human sleeping sickness, and to Eliza for sending in this article. Cheers. Sean says, it's a damned word salad when they name these things, these drugs. He swears they use a Ouija board when they name them. I mean, tell me, what should be my next letter before the typical Boral or Obased or whatever the heck the ends are? C. Oh, this is going to be a good one. That or Boggle, says Becky. Scrabble champion, says producer Donna. Sean challenges me to prove him wrong. I'm not gonna. Okay. That's gonna get us out of health and medicine. We are gonna jump into category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. Our first article, we've got 2 of them in here, and this first one we called Uganda Welcomes Home, a Symbol of Perseverance. And this was sent to us by both Ed and Norse Raven. So Ed and Norse Raven, thank you very much for sending this one in. I will copy and paste this article in the chat for y'all to read along. Or check it out at your leisure. And again, all of the articles that we present on our broadcasts can be found in the descriptions of our videos. "40 years after the last one was poached, rhinos are back in the wild in Uganda." This was published to the BBC website on 18th of March 2026 by Jean Otaller. For the first time in more than 4 decades, rhinos have returned to Uganda's Kitapo Valley National Park, where poachers once wiped them out for their horns and their meat. On Tuesday, 2 southern white rhinos became the first of 8 animals intended to re-establish a population in the park. The last rhino there was killed in 1983, the Uganda Wildlife Authority, which is responsible for the relocation, said. During that period of turmoil, hunters slaughtered every rhino in Kitapo and across Uganda's other national parks, which had once supported around 700 of these massive animals, the Reuters news agency reported. Their loss resulted in the species' complete extinction in the wild in Uganda. This moment marks the beginning of a new rhino story for Kitapo Valley National Park. UWA's executive director, James Mushinguzi, is quoted by Reuters as saying, "Translocation of these rhinos is the first step in restoring a species that once formed part of the park's natural heritage," he added. Mushinguzi said the initiative is guided by a study that looked at habitat suitability ecological needs, and security conditions, and found that Kitapo was one of the best sites for successfully reintroducing the species. The UWA set a secure rhino sanctuary outfitted with perimeter fencing, access roads, fire breaks, ranger facilities, water systems, and monitoring technology was in place to ensure the animals are effectively protected and managed. The two rhinos were moved to Kitapo, a vast expanse of savanna in the remote northeast of the country, from a privately owned ranch in Nakasungola, about 100 kilometers or 62 miles for folks who have landed people on the moon, north of the capital, Kampala. The ranch has been breeding rhinos since 2005, when it imported 4 southern white rhinos from a Kenyan game reserve. Poaching is still a challenge in Uganda, where authorities have arrested and prosecuted individuals found with ivory, pangolins, and other endangered species, conservationists report. Hey, Nordic. Sean prefers to call rhinos. So Becky called them chubby unicorns, and Sean prefers chubby tactical unicorns. So I think both are acceptable. The illicit rhino horn market remains lucrative, fueled by their use in traditional medicine and their value as status symbols in several Asian countries. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, or the IUCN, classifies the southern white rhino as near threatened, saying their population is decreasing. A survey from 2020 said there were just over 10,000 of the huge animals in existence. But at least in this situation, there's hope that there will be a continued increase in their population thanks to their reintroduction to Uganda. So, to everybody involved with reintroducing rhinos to Uganda's Kitapo Valley National Park, and to Ed and Norse Raven for both sending in that article to us. Cheers. Tactical. Alright, our second article here in Flora and Fauna is a heckin' good girl article. And I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check it out. Oh. Hey, Little John. For those of you who can see him, there's Little John. My Emperor Scorpion. He came out to say hello. And to try to climb the glass, as he tends to do. Hero police dog hired to sniff out the hard drives of child abusers. She helps us hold offenders accountable. This was published on March 26th of 2026 to goodgoodgood.co by Cameron Baker. While most detection dogs are known for their ability to sniff out drugs and other illegal substances for law enforcement, these skilled canines are a growing resource in a variety of industries. From sniffing out illegally trafficked wildlife and endangered or invasive species, to helping find lost family pets, the dog job market is one to keep an eye on. In Saskatoon, a city in Saskatchewan, Canada, nearly 3-year-old golden retriever Taffy is paving the way for her species as an electronic storage detection dog, or ESD, for the Saskatchewan police. Taffy's job, as part of the force's Internet Child Exploitation Unit, is to locate hidden electronic storage devices, specifically in searches for evidence in child exploitation cases. Digital evidence plays a significant role in Internet child exploitation investigations, Staff Sergeant Tim Failer, coordinator of the Saskatoon Internet Child Exploitation Unit, said in a statement. Even the smallest device can hold thousands of images, videos, and messages. The introduction of Taffy as a resource for investigators greatly increases our ability to locate those devices and hold offenders accountable. According to a spokesperson for the Saskatoon Police, ESDs are trained to detect the chemical compounds commonly found in electronics like cell phones, USBs, hard drives, SD cards, laptops, and other digital media. Taffy came to the Saskatoon Police by way of the nonprofit Our Rescue, a group that works with law enforcement to combat human trafficking and child exploitation through the use of dogs like her. The group helps train ESD dogs and donates them to law enforcement agencies, and covers the costs of annual recertifications, further training, and more. According to CBC, the group also pays for Taffy's treats. Our Rescue has sponsored 142 ESD placements in 7 countries, including 38 states in the United States. Taffy's handler, Saskatoon Police Detective Byron Somakal, said dogs like her play an important role in finding evidence humans may not see, and help speed along the process in large search areas. Their noses are extraordinary parts of their anatomy, he told the CBC. All these dogs are used basically to make sure we don't miss anything, he continued in a video. In addition to her primary work to locate electronic devices, Taffy also serves as a deep therapy support dog for victims of crime and members of the police force. Since beginning her work, Taffy has fulfilled each function of her role, a statement from the Saskatoon Police said. Locating hidden electronic devices during the execution of search warrants, providing comfort to a child victim of a sex crime, and most recently, supporting members of the SPS following the sudden loss of a colleague. Even though she's on the prowl for evidence of a crime, Taffy remains a very good girl. You can see her demeanor is so calm. She's just so nice to be around, Failer told CBC. It helps people to be more comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. To Our Rescue that trains ESDs, basically electronics detective dogs, and to Taffy, who's working with the Saskatoon Police to help people and discover this evidence that may be missed. Cheers. Sean says, "Creative Canadians, we're the reason the Geneva Convention exists and continue to add to it." Producer Donna followed that up with, "Until they make it a rule, it's fair game, and we're here to show them where the holes are in the rules." Nordic follows it up, "Canadian geese are responsible for half the rules." Yes, those things are a war crime in flight mode. I don't know if the mic is picking it up, but there's a cricket in Ripley's home, and I've been waiting for her to kill it. And it's chirping a lot. Ripley. Ripley, go find that cricket. Ripley, please. Please, Ripley. I beg of you. Oh, Charlie says can hear it loud and clear. Oh, Ripley, kill that thing. Come on, girl. Get your dinner. Ugh. Alright, that's going to get us out of Flora and Fauna. We're going to move on to Category 4, the Wholesome Notes. And this first one we called The Wheels on Support Go Round and Round. I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check it out. Spokes, Saddles, and Speaking Up at Skills Support Scheme. This was published to the BBC on the 21st of February 2026 by Ashley Swan. It's Friday afternoon in a bike shed in Londonderry. 13-year-old twins Thomas and Travis are making a start on fixing a broken bicycle that was bound for the dump. "We need to get the brakes and handlebars changed and then fix the chains," says Thomas. But while they are learning how to make those repairs, they are also talking to a social worker, Danny Bryce, about their lives at home and at school. They are taking part in the On Your Bike scheme, which combines practical skills with emotional support for young people in the Western Health Trust area. The first task for the boys from Newton Stewart is to take the rust off the bike. While they are doing that, Bryce is asking them about what subjects they have picked for their GCSEs. Motor vehicles and technology, replies Thomas. Well, this is going to tie in with motor vehicles then, says Bryce. Despite the workshop appearing to be focused on getting an old bike roadworthy again, it's actually the conversations which take place that are most important for the social worker. We do a lot of chatting about what challenges they are facing, and together we come up with solutions to what they are talking about, Bryce tells BBC News NI. Developed by the Family Response Service, the project also helps young people develop and build relationships within their families and wider circle. This is something that has become clear to Thomas. Because we, Thomas and Travis, are doing stuff together, we are getting closer and building our relationship with each other. The On Your Bike project lasts for 4 weeks, and so far it has worked with over 100 young people from across the Northwest. They choose a damaged bike, help to upcycle it, and by the end of the month, they get to take it home with them. The old bikes are donated by staff at the Western Trust or saved from landfills through Derry City and Strabane District Council's Recycling Center. Bryce believes taking part in activities like this is much easier for teenagers than formal counseling sessions. Sitting down in a room with an adult can be very intimidating for young people, and the formal format of that often doesn't work. So we use projects like this to collaborate with young people. After their bikes are repaired and upcycled in the workshop, Bryce will then take the twins through a cycling assessment before they can take them home. They will also be given helmets and high-vis vests, along with reflectors to make sure the bikes are as visible as possible. We talk them through road safety, like where they can and can't go on the bikes. We also make sure they are competent in cycling, and how to stop an emergency stop properly. Bryce said the project is also a great confidence builder. A lot of young people don't have the opportunity to use tools or actually practically fix something, and so this gives them a great sense of pride and achievement. It also teaches the teenagers about sustainability. We live in a throwaway society, and this is great because it educates them about the environment and focuses on the fact that if something breaks, it can be fixed. It doesn't have to be dumped. Thomas is looking forward to not only bringing his new bike home, but using it to spend more time with his brother Travis. It will be fun to keep the bike once we are finished. We will use the bikes to go places. That is really awesome. To everybody involved with the On Your Bike scheme, which is basically connecting teens with social workers to improve family dynamics, as well as just have conversations that normally may not happen because of how a normal situation or setting like that goes. Cheers. All right, our last article of the night we called Sharing is Caring. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check it out. And just one final reminder, if you want to check out any of our articles that are presented on our episodes, just check out the description of the video. We have them all posted down there. Please shut up. Please. Where are you? I need you to get eaten by Ripley, and I need you to get eaten soon, because you are bothering me. I knew I should have put that one in with Sue. He would have tackled it already. Or maybe Little John. Little John definitely would have gone after it. These best friends used to be homeless. Now, they buy abandoned storage units to help people still on the streets. This was published on March 19th of 2026 by Cameron Baker to goodgoodgood.co. Shula Kikowska, 42, and Louis Peralta, 56, are two Rhode Islanders who became friends when they met in a local supportive housing program. Kikowska was living in her car, and Peralta found himself needing housing after he was discharged from cancer treatment. Once they were in a shelter, the two lived next to each other. During this time, as they were both working to get back on their feet, Kikowska learned of Peralta's penchant for buying discounted storage lockers, the kind you might see on the A&E network show Storage Wars. He would buy the abandoned storage units at a steep discount, pick through them for items he could sell at a high price, and throw the rest away. It was a hobby he had been doing for 25 years. By becoming neighbors, she could see what I was doing, so she asked me what was going on, and I told her to subsidize myself. I would buy storage lockers, but I would throw away 80 to 90% of what I got because you just can't accumulate too much, Peralta told WJAR News. And she got upset because she knew she could do a lot with it to give back. Now that the two have secured their own permanent housing, they use Peralta's longtime hobby to give back to others like them. When I saw him doing that, I thought, I can do something with this. I can redistribute it, so it doesn't end up at the landfill, Kikowska told WJAR. When I came out of homelessness, I had nothing. I didn't have furniture. I didn't have any of that. So what I can do for people today is give what I can. Now, they strategically shop the storage units, with Kikowska keeping household items, shoes, and other valuable essentials in her own home to share with others who have very little. The first time the pair put on a call on social media, several people reached out. Now, they've helped hundreds in need. They call their effort Up to Us Neighbors. I take in the requests, and then if I have the stuff, whoever needs a coffee table, or size 12 clothes, or children's clothes, or anything, then I give it to them, Kikowska said. I'll deliver it, or they'll come and pick it up. Their policy is simple, the pair writes on a GoFundMe page. Upon request, no questions asked. From nursery furniture to new clothes, the goal is to get people connected to the things they need to rebuild their lives. The mission has grown in recent months, and the duo now has 3 of their own storage lockers where they keep items to donate. However, demand is growing, and they are fundraising to expand to a box truck or cargo van to support their efforts. People across the state have come to Up to Us Neighbors for support, and they've created a community of at least 30 to 40 volunteers, Kikowska said. I have over 100 requests right now, and I can only do a couple a day. Just yesterday I received over 100 requests, she said. I mean, everything is up. You can't buy clothes. Everything is expensive. You're a family with multiple kids. How do you do it? She reportedly spends about 10 hours a day working to fulfill requests, and she doesn't receive any money of her own to make it happen. I do it because it makes me feel good, she told WJAR. That's all. A sign of growth from their own rock bottom, Kikowska and Peralta are turning their struggles into a new beginning for others, too. From a homeless shelter to a new apartment, my journey has taught me one thing, Kikowska wrote on Facebook. We are stronger when we look out for each other. To Shula Kikowska and Louis Peralta, who went from nothing to something and are now sharing that opportunity with others and doing their best to help others through their own actions. Cheers. Sean said, so they're arguing about the cricket in the chat. Charlie said, depends on how grumpy and sleep-deprived Nick is. And Sean said, true, but he's usually sleep-deprived. Sean, I got a new job last year, and I am not as sleep-deprived as I used to be because of it. A lot of great stuff has happened in a short period of time. And so I'm usually actually not much in the way of sleep-deprived anymore, which is great. So... yeah, I could tie that cricket. Charlie says, I can see him tying the cricket to a stake as a warning to others. I definitely would, and I'd put it right up behind me. Probably by my Lego Mantis or, like, my Metabot model, or maybe the tech priest, the tech marine behind me. Who knows? Oh, hey, did you get killed? Oh, he's on the run. Oh, she's chasing him. Oh, fantastic. Get him. Kill him. Eat him. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our broadcast tonight. I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. Again, we're live every Sunday, and our next episode will be on April 5th of 2026. We encourage participation, so by all means, if you feel inclined, you can message us or post suggestions for news brews, shout-outs, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can present on future episodes of our program. If you send in a bunch of articles, try to spread them out across our 4 categories, which again are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes. The really nice ones we like to end on, like 2 individuals that went from nothing to something and are making it a goal to help others in the same boat. So you can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description down below. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our content across all the platforms, Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, where we are continuing to try to get good news out into the algorithms. Please no SEO improvement advertisements, we're not interested. It's because of all you that Nick's News continues to grow, and I can't thank you all enough for that. It really is something else to see that we are continuing to get good news out there. And there is good news to find. I'm so happy that we can find it and present it. So, as always, thank you again. I love you all. Have a great night, and I will play us out.